Hello viewers, good morning all of you. Today I am going to discuss the class 9th mathematics, one topic which is very complicated, or it appears to be complicated, but today we will try to understand it. That is chapter 5, Euclid geometry. What is Euclid geometry and what is its significance in mathematics? This is the basic problem which we will deal today. Okay children? Now before starting, we have to understand what is the Greek root. A lot of things we understood with the help of Greek root. Can you see children? This chapter 5 is made of two words, Euclid and geometry. So first we will understand this term geometry. Okay? In geometry you have already studied from the very beginning, especially from the 6th class. Geometrically, what is the meaning of geometry? Basically, geo. It is made of two words, okay? Geo plus metron. Metron. Geo means earth. Metron to measure. You can see also the dictionary, etymology, or you can see the Greek root. Most of the science topics are taken from the Greek root. So, with this help, we can understand what is the meaning of this literally. Okay. Now you understood the terminology, geometry. What is the significance for Euclid? Euclid was a mathematician who tried to convert the complex and just abstract algebra into concrete form or visual form, which we can sense through just our hand by touching or by viewing, so that we can easily understand. That's why it is named as Euclid geometry. So now I hope you have understood basic thing. Okay. So before we start, I'm going to ask you one question. Okay. Who just given the formal proof? Do you know who given the first ever proof? I will tell you this thing in the last part of the video. Okay. Now, first we will try to understand what is geometrical Euclid geometry. Okay. You have just seen the problem. Right? Teacher says lot of problem. X plus x. You can say 2x. X plus y. You can't say 2x or 2y. This is a basic problem. And when you give the number, students are able to add. But when you are going to just give this value, or if we give 1 plus 2, that is 3. If we give 1 plus a, what is the value? 1a. Can you see? You can see here. 1 plus 2, 3. And 1 plus a, that is a. What is the basic problem with this thing? Can you see? Students never understand this thing basic. That's why you always feel the difficulty. So I'm going to try to understand this visualized form. Okay. So can you see these two things? It is purely based on the Euclid geometry. You can see children, viewers, you can see these are the two. One, this is thermos, this is the plastic bottle. Now try to add it, join it. How will you join? Is there any way? How can you join this? This is the steel, made of steel, this is thermos, this is the plastic bottle. How can you add? Is there any way? Then the student will respond, no, sir, there is no way. Because these two are different things. Then we will start our topic. Yes, these two are called unlike terms. Unlike terms. Now we have correlated the just unlike terms with different things. So now we can say x plus x is 2x. Why? Because these two are like terms. Now you can see similarly 1 plus 2 is 3. Why? Because these two are like terms. 1 plus a, this is the alphabet, this is numeric alphabet, or you can say these are numbers. So they are unlike, or they are different, or unlike. So they cannot be added. So this is a wrong statement. Can you see? wrong statement. Now you can see similarly x plus y cannot be 2x. Why? Because they are unlike terms. Similarly, you can understand this thing. Okay. Now we have understood one practical ground. Now see, what the Euclid tried to explain. Okay. Euclid done one thing. What? He tried to define the abstract thing. For example, point. He have taken the 7 points. Okay. Point, line, surface, plane, etc. We try to understand these terms. Okay. So if you want to say, or we have to define point. So in mathematics we will say a point which has no dimension. Okay. Now student will not understand. Now he tried to understand what? Point is that part whose area is 0, which cannot be represented in the number line. Its length, breadth, height, all the things are 0. Now line, you can say it is a path whose breadth is 0. You can say this is the length and its breadth is 0. Okay. Surface, which has, you can represent any line or any plane. You can see surface. That means you can represent anything. You can see this board. You can see this. You can see this is an example of what? Surface. This is the plane. This is an example of board, blackboard. You can see blackboard. Now we have understood the surface. We have understood the plane. Now, what is the difference between plane and surface? You cannot represent curved surface on plane. You can see surface. Surface is general term. You can see which has a 2 dimension, L length and breadth, which does not have height. It does not have any height. Okay. Now, this plane, you can see this is the part of the surface in which you can represent the line. You can represent the straight line. Can you represent the straight line on this horizontally? Even if you draw the line vertically, they will end at here. Okay. So you cannot represent. This is the curve. You cannot represent the straight line. It's completely not possible. Okay. If I say completely represent number line on it, you will not be able to do that. That means plane. The plane surface. Plane surface. Surface, it may be plane or it may be curved. Now we have understood this term. So now we have understood the basic things. Now see the next term comes. Then Euclid also defined axiom and postulates. What? Axiom and postulate. What is the meaning of axioms and postulates? These are the assumptions these are also assumptions. Then what is the basic difference? Assumptions, it is general, and when assumption is done for made for geometrical part or for geometry, then it is represented as postulate. Initially this was the concept, but later on both can be used anywhere. So there is not very much difference. Okay. Now for assumptions, that total 1 to 7 assumptions, and postulate 1 to 5. Now there are 7 assumptions. Okay. Now one by one we will going to read it. Okay. See. You can see things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. If two things are same, you can see these two chopsticks are same. These two are same. Okay. This is A. This is B. This A is equal to this C. Then this B is also equal to C. That means both A and C are equal. Okay, you don't go for this length. Okay, we try to understand the concept only. Okay, if we see the next part, if equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. That means two parts are same. Okay. Now you can see if you have anything x and another thing is x, both are same, or you can say y, both are equal. If you add both sides the same term, that is z, both will be equal. Okay. When whatever you whole are getting, if equals are added to equals, then both will be equal. Okay. Then third, things which coincide with one another are equal. You can see these two my hands. Just see, both coincide each other. Why? My left hand overlap on the right and right hand overlap on the left. That means both are same. Okay. Now see, the whole is greater than this part. You can see my body, my hand. This is my whole body. My hand is a part of this body, but my body is not a part of my hand. Okay. So you can see the whole is always greater than its part. Okay. You can see the chalk. Can you see, children? You can see the whole chalk, you break. Now it's two parts. This part cannot be equal to the previous one. Okay? The small part is a part of the bigger one. Now you can see things which are double of the same thing are equal to one another. That means the statement is things which are double of the same thing. That means x is equal to 2y. Okay? And z is also equal to 2y. So you can see these two are also equal. So you can also take the example. Now you can see things which are half of the same thing are equal to one another. Things which are half of the same thing. That means you can see x is equal to 1 upon 2y and z is equal to 1 upon 2y. So you can see if these two are same, so these two are also equal. It tries to visualize these things. Okay. Now, so we have understood the axioms. Now we will try to understand the postulates. Okay. So first postulate is what? Given two distinct points, there is a unique line that passes through the now see carefully. Given two distinct points, there is a unique line that passes through them. So if I say that you have a 1 point, how many lines you can draw? So we will say infinite. Now there is another point. This point is P, this point is Q. So how many lines you can draw at this point? You can see infinite. Okay. Now through these 2 points, how many lines you can draw? Say only one. This is called axiom 5. This is called axiom just 5.1. Okay. Now we will see the next, a terminated line. You can say AB. These two are part of a line. Line segment it is called. If you extend both sides, what will happen? You get a line. Okay. Then a circle can be drawn with any center and any radius. You can see. This is the, here you can see. You take any point and take a circle. Okay. So you can draw always any circle you can draw. You can take this center and take any 5 centimeter or 3 centimeter radius. Draw the circle. Anywhere you can draw a circle on a plane surface. Okay. Now fourth, all right angles are equal. Right angles are equal. You can see whether it is small or it is bigger. All right angles are equal. Now last part you can see. First, we will just read the statement. Okay. What is statement? A straight line falling on two straight lines make the interior angles on the same side of it taken together less than the two right angles. Then the two straight lines, if produced indefinitely, meets on that side on which the sum of the angles is less than the two right angles. What its meaning? You can say you have two any lines, oblique line you can see, you draw the transversal, okay, L, M, N. You can see these two are oblique lines intersected by a transversal N. Now what he is saying, if you are getting this angle 1 and this angle 2, then if sum of angle 1 and angle 2 is just greater than 180, then if you extend these two parts, they will not meet at each other. Okay? But if you see this part 3 and 4, now if the sum of these two angles, angle 3 plus angle 4, is less than 180 degree, if you extend, they will meet each other. Okay? I hope you understood. This is the basic concept. Okay, thank you. Now I am going to give you the name of that mathematician, that is the Thales. Thales given the first ever proof on the circle. That means if you draw the diameter, it will divide the whole circle or bisect the circle. Bisect means two equal parts. Okay? He had done a lot of things, a Pythagoras theorem proof. You can read more about him. Okay? Thank you. If you have understood this thing, like my videos and subscribe it. Thank you.